You ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. So, Bears fans, the trade deadline has come and gone, and our Chicago Bears did make a move for a defensive end prior to the end of the trade deadline by adding defensive end Joe Tryon-Shoyinka from the Cleveland Browns and a 2026 7th-round pick, and they sent a 6th-round pick in 2026 to the Cleveland Browns. He was the 32nd overall pick by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 2021, stands at 6'5", 260 pounds. So obviously, you know, Ryan Poles and Dennis Allen definitely have a certain type when they're looking for edge rushers. He has 15 career sacks in 4 seasons with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and according to PFF, he has registered 20 pressures or more in each of his first 4 seasons. When he signed his 1-year deal with the Cleveland Browns this past year, hasn't really gotten a lot of opportunities, which rightfully so. The Cleveland Browns defensive line is absolutely stacked. He only had 14 pass rush opportunities, but did get 3 pressures from those 14 pass rush opportunities. Doesn't have a sack this season. To me, Bears fans, I know there's a lot of people that are really pissed off with Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears and really their lack of aggressiveness at this NFL trade deadline, especially since the Chicago Bears are sitting at a 5-3 record. Not only are they in contention with the NFC North, it looks like they can finally make a big playoff push in Ben Johnson's first season with the Chicago Bears. And I think Bears fans expected Ryan Poles to be a little bit more aggressive. But personally, I feel like this is a low-risk, high-reward move for the Chicago Bears. Solid depth piece. They obviously needed some depth on the defensive line after Dayo Odeyingbo was placed on IR and is now out for the season with his torn Achilles. I'm actually really proud of Ryan Poles, and I believe this was a really successful trade deadline for the Chicago Bears. And before you guys attack me in the comment section, let me explain why I'm saying that I believe the Chicago Bears nailed the trade deadline. First and foremost, once we all understand the Chicago Bears needed depth on the defensive line, and this move really shows that they believe in not only Austin Booker, but also Montez Sweat. When you look at Montez Sweat's last 3 games, Bears fans, he has 6 hurries, 4 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits, 3 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. It seems that he is finally buying in and heating up within this Dennis Allen defense here in Chicago. And then when you look at Austin Booker, his very first game back against the Cincinnati Bengals, he looked absolutely outstanding. He posted a 90 overall PFF grade, also had 1 sack and 1 forced fumble. He looked really good in his return to the Chicago Bears defensive line. This also shows me that they're finally going to give Austin Booker a true opportunity to be a full-time starter on this Bears defense, and I'm excited for him to have the opportunity because he could definitely be that diamond in the rough and continue to give the Chicago Bears defensive line a spark, because I definitely felt that he gave the Bears D-line a spark against the Cincinnati Bengals. And some other factors that you have to consider on why Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears weren't as aggressive as we expected. They only have 7 draft picks in the upcoming 2026 NFL draft, so they don't want to mortgage the future for one of these big names, especially if Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson don't feel that they are 1 player away from being Super Bowl contenders. Not only that, the Chicago Bears have very limited cap space. I think they currently only have $8 million in cap space for the rest of the season, so that was a recipe for them not to make a big move for a guy like Quinton Williams, for them not to make a big move for a guy like Jermaine Johnson, especially since the New York Jets were looking for a 2nd-round pick. And I think it takes a lot of self-awareness for Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears to realize that that wouldn't be a good move for the organization to give away a high draft pick in a 2nd-round pick for a guy like Jermaine Johnson. So once again, Ryan Poles did not want to mortgage the future here in Chicago, and I'm actually very proud of his self-awareness because in years past, we have known Ryan Poles to be very aggressive at the trade deadline. A couple of years ago, He traded a second-round pick for Chase Claypool. We all know how that worked out for Ryan Poles and the Bears organization. Then another year, he traded a second-round pick for Montez Sweat. I feel like that investment has kind of paid off 50-50 for the Chicago Bears. That's remained to be seen, but it seems like Montez Sweat is starting to heat up here this season for the Chicago Bears. So I like the self-awareness from Ryan Poles, understanding that, we are probably not in a space to make a big time move. Yes, it would have been nice to have Quinton Williams. Yes, it would have been nice to have Jermaine Johnson. Yes, it may even been nice to go out and get a guy like Trey Hendrickson or Max Crosby. But the price was too high for the Chicago Bears, and Ryan Poles and the Bears are thinking about the long-term success of this organization. Once again, I understand the frustrations of us being 5-3 and us maybe trying to fight for the NFC North and maybe making a big push this year. But as we all know, the Chicago Bears are dealing with injuries. They're dealing with limited cap space. They only have 7 draft picks for the 2026 NFL draft. They are trying to build this thing the right way for long-term success. Not only to have success this year, but to have success for the next 10 plus years, right? So I do appreciate the fact that Ryan Poles showed a little bit more self-awareness. I think he is listening and trusting his coaches in Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen. And if they feel that defensive end Joe Tryon-Shoyinka was the only move that they needed to make at the trade deadline, just to keep things afloat and just keep things moving on that defensive line as bad as it has looked, then I'm going to trust Ben Johnson. I'm going to trust Ryan Poles. I'm going to trust the moves that they've made at the trade deadline. Not only that, I also wanted to add this, is that you have to understand that they have a lot of money invested in guys like Dayo Odeyingbo. Even though Dayo Odeyingbo did not look good this season for the Chicago Bears and he'll be out for the remainder of the season, they still invested a whole lot of money for him to be one of the main guys on this defensive line. So let's hope that he can recover. Hopefully he can come back and have a huge bounce back season for the Chicago Bears. And that is just me trying to be an optimistic Bears fan. I understand that he did not look good this season, but let's give him one more opportunity to come back, hopefully with a full offseason once he recovers, and come back better than ever to hopefully make this Bears defensive line a whole lot better. So overall, I just want to welcome Joe Tryon-Shoyinka to the Chicago Bears. Also welcome him down below in the comment section. That was the only move the Chicago Bears made at the trade deadline. Even though the trade deadline has come and gone, there are still holes that remain to be filled on the Chicago Bears defense, and they can instantly go out and sign a guy like cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. I think he is ready to go. Doctors have cleared him, so now he's going to start meeting with teams. I think that would resolve an instant need in the secondary. I know they just got Gardner Johnson. He made a huge impact in his first game against the Cincinnati Bengals, but the Chicago Bears could definitely use more competition in the secondary as well in terms of their cornerbacks until Kyler Gordon comes back. Hopefully the Bears can get Jalen Johnson back here in the near future. But overall, go sign a guy like Asante Samuel Jr. You added Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, which was a need on this defensive line. Hopefully with more opportunities for him, he can come in and make a big impact on this Bears defensive line as well. But once again, I just look at this as a low risk, high reward move for the Bears. That's not going to mortgage the future, and they're just trying to build this thing the right way. So other than that, Bears fans, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, be back for an all-new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
Cali, the shot town is Bears on the flight. Let me go tune in to Geek on the Mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.